Hi, Katherine. It's so nice to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm well. Thank you for having me. It's delightful to be here.
Yeah, beautiful. Katherine, I am so excited to have you on the show for, some reasons. Firstly, I believe that knowledge is so important, and knowledge is the solution to world's problem. And
hmm
secondly, I firmly believe it that there are some things that Katherine knows, some things that you know, that some of my audience needs to hear this stuff directly from your mouth in order to experience transformation. I firmly believe that. And thirdly, even I myself, I believe I'm going to learn one or two things from your story, your experiences, your insight. I believe so. So for that reason, Catherine, I want us to get started with your introduction, your journey, how the journey has been so far, the challenges that you faced, and how you overcame them. Then afterwards, I've got it some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Catherine, over to you.
Thank you. So, as you said, I'm Katherine Lazaruk, and my company is Lazaruk Consulting. And how did I get here? What? It's a mystery. Um, I could start all the way back at the very beginning, being born in a small town in the interior of a province in Canada and working my way through challenges to get to university. And in university, I earned degrees in voice performance and in elementary education. So I began my professional journey teaching elementary school part time and singing professionally in the opera. And it took me 12 years and a lung tumor to figure out that that was not the path for me because both of those careers have quite narrow parameters and I'm not a very good small box person. So I went on leave. I worked with a coach. I concentrated on my healing. And 6 months after my diagnosis, the tumor was gone. And I had a job doing corporate training at one of the big accounting firms, professional services firms in the world. And in that in between time, while I was working with a coach, he asked me this funny question. He's kind of a macho dude. And he said, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up, little lady?" And I laughed and I had a vision, which had never happened to me before and it has not happened since. But I had a vision of the first company name and the first tagline that I ever used, which was ICU Image Consulting, intensive care for your image. And when I got this vision, I just laughed because I said, that's not a real job. Who does that job? And he said, it's a real job. You could do that job. So I thought, well, I look all right. I've read some books. I will get a website and some business cards and start practicing. So that is what I did. Now, I don't recommend that approach to anybody now because if you want to go into image consulting, you really need to get some training because it is such an intimate entrance into somebody's life and you need to be careful in people's closets and with their hearts and minds and souls. So I did build up my practice when my corporate job ended in the recession in 2009. I did go and get my certifications and training in image consulting and advanced image consulting at the International Image Institute here in Canada. And then the woman that runs that institute, Karen Brunger, she really liked me. So she let me intern with her. And then she made me her Western Canada image trainer. So in addition to my private practice, I was also teaching consultants how to be consultants at a college here in Vancouver and in other places as well. And as I got further along in my image consulting career, my clients went up the chain in their companies. And then they said, we really want you to come and work with our executive teams. But we're tired of explaining to the people that write the checks that you're not really an image consultant. You're doing much more than that around leadership and personal and professional development. So we need you to change your company name. And I'm like, sure. So I changed it to Lazaruk Consulting and now I can do what I like.
Beautiful. Hmm. Your journey is inspiring. You mentioned one
Thank you.
particular keyword, yeah, that caught my attention, vision. That's a very important one, I
Yes.
tell you, because when
Mhm.
you get a hold of where you're going, nah, 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 there is no amount of distraction that can get to you again, because you can bear within yourself that, yes, this is exactly what I need to do. And you said immediately you got the name and the tagline, and that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing it already. That's a good one, Catherine.
Yeah, I think sometimes people get hints from the universe or God or higher power or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
quantum physics, whatever that force is for you. I think people get hints, but they don't always then follow through. And there's a
Exactly.
great proverb. I actually think it's an African proverb that I heard recently that says, while you pray, move your feet.
Mm, right.
You have to take action and you have to listen to those nudges and listen to, like, what are you being called to do next? Because right now I'm in the process of taking new steps and making a transition again, because my clients were telling me, okay, we really love the work that you do one-to-one, and we love the work you do with our teams, but we really need something that's going to help prepare our younger leaders to get into senior leadership.
Mm,
So I really need that. And so they're like, what kind of program can you create? What can you do? And I was being called into this larger platform and called into this larger offering for a couple of years now. And finally, I'm taking the steps to start doing that so that I can help people remotely and digitally and help them find their own place in the world and find their feet so that they can start moving them in the right direction. And that's a different kind of vision.
yeah.
And it also takes a different kind of courage to say, yes, I have something of value to offer. I can help. How can I help in the best way possible, the most people? And so that's part of the journey.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. That's a good one, Catherine. Okay, so that's gonna lead us to the very first question. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, beautiful. So, what is a a whole person? You know, whole person, whole presence, and why is it important? You got that?
I think, yeah, I did hear you. Thank you for that question. I think that you cannot be truly present if you are not whole. And what I mean by that is the job of our life is to become really integrated, to be able to use all of our senses, to use all of our emotions, to use every part of our physical being. And this experience that we're living right now as humans, integrate every single piece of information that we can so that we can be really well regulated as people. And then we can do whatever it is we're meant to do here on the planet. So I think someone is whole and not, I mean, I think it's kind of interesting because you're whole and complete when you arrive, and you're whole and complete when you depart, and you're whole and complete throughout your journey. And yet it's almost as if there's this layering of things that contribute to your integration. It's that idea of, we forgot who we were when we arrived, and we leave knowing more about who we are. And I think if you are showing up 100% of the time to the table with whatever energy you have to offer as your as your complete self, as your true self, then that makes you more present in the moment and makes you more of a complete and whole person. And I think this journey doesn't end. Like if you're not dead, you're not done. There's always more to do in continuing to integrate. Even the most enlightened beings among us never have their balance all the time, even though it looks like they might. I remember the story of the martial arts master who his students said, "Oh, you're in balance all the time. You're perfectly responsive all the time. You always know exactly what to say and what to do." And the master says back to the student, "Oh no, I fall off my balance all the time. It's only that I've shortened the journey from falling off to getting back on as much as possible." And I think that's the goal, is to shorten your recovery time. Even in relationship, like if there's a rupture in a relationship, how quickly can you repair? How quickly can you recover? If you get off the beam, how fast do you get back on? Some of us fall and take a long time to get back up. And that's okay. That's part of the journey. But those of us that are working towards this integration, into this completeness, and into this place of responsiveness to life, and expanding our range of resonance and our capacity to hold all the things life is going to give us so that we can receive them, it's about shortening that time between falling off and getting back up.
Beautiful. I got that. You know, if you are not dead, you're not done. I love that. I love that. Okay, so let's proceed. We still have some questions here. Now, let us look at the impact, Someone who is living his old presence, old person.
Mhm.
What is the impact that person would have on, the community, friends, families, neighbors? Can you talk to us about that?
Ken, you asked me earlier why it was important to be whole, and this is exactly why. Because people that are whole and complete, people that are real with themselves and with others, they're aware of their blind spots, they're aware of their purpose, they're aware of their contribution, they know that they have something to offer. They might not know what it is, but I guarantee that if you show up in the moment fully and you're listening to the people around you and you're seeing the things around you and you're feeling the sensations of the things around you, you will know what to do in that moment. You'll be connected up to the life force or whatever that is for you. You're connected to it. It moves through you and it moves to the people that it needs to help. So having this kind of personal development journey gives you more access to the reason that you're here on earth and the ripple effects of that. So, for example, let's say I work with a client and she gets promoted, and then she is responsible for a team. So the ripple effect of the work that I do with her then filters down to her team, and she can coach them. And then they can coach the people in their world. So I can drop one insight into someone's life, and then that insight can drift through their life and drift into the lives of the people around them. So I think we need more good stewards of power in the world. Right now, there are people who are in power who are in it for themselves. They're not really in it to serve the world. And you can tell when someone's just in it for themselves, And you also know, like, truth has a real sound to it. It has a feeling to it. You feel it in your bones when someone is there to serve the world. And so I think that more people, more aware, who are willing to be real and are willing to show up vulnerably and willing to listen for the nudges that are going to show them their purpose in the world, are able to not just impact the person in front of them, but impact through that person multiple other people. And sometimes you'll never know what your effect was until you die and you get up to wherever you're going and someone gives you the book and says, hey, this is why you were there. Here's the slideshow. Enjoy.
You just said some amazing stuff. There are actually a whole lot of big folks who they're just into this stuff just to serve themselves. I tell you. Okay, so let us get personally bit. All right.
Okay.
What is the biggest challenge that your clients face? Can you talk to us about some of the challenges?
Yes. I think that the biggest challenge my clients face is not knowing themselves well and not trusting themselves enough to do what they need to do. So the symptoms that people present with when they talk to me about what it is they want to do, the symptoms they present are, I'm not getting noticed at work, or I'm not getting promoted, or I don't feel confident when I have to step into the boardroom, or I can't really articulate my contribution or what my value is to the company. I can't speak up for myself as well as I would like. And it could be something as simple as, I don't know what really looks great on me, and I don't feel good about the way that I look. So there's a wide range of symptoms that people present, but I would say that the root cause of it is not knowing and believing in who they are. Because the way to creating true, whole, complete presence, strong presence, and people call it all kinds of things. They call it charisma, they call it gravitas, they call it executive presence. But to me, it's just showing up as who you are, how you are, the way you are. And I think there are three really key elements to that. The first piece is character. So these are my 3 C's. Character, which is knowing who you are, right down to the bones, because who we are at 4 is who we are at 104. The core of who you are, your soul, your spirit, that's the essence of you, does not change. You might grow in rings like a tree. There might be layers. There might be layers people put on you that you need to strip off later. But it's the essence of who you are doesn't change. So the quicker you can make friends with your container, like the body that you came here to be in, and with who you are, the easier your life is going to roll. So a lot of the work that I do helps people uncover their character. Who are you when nobody's looking? Then the next important thing is congruence, which means, do you look, speak, act as good as you are? Right? Does it make sense? When you show up and you tell people who you are, they're like, oh yeah, I can see that that's true. That makes sense to me. There's no disconnect anywhere. Like there's no sense of falsity. It's like, this is, what you see is what you get. I am who I am, and I look like that person. So your personality, even something as simple as your coloring, what are you wearing? How are you behaving? So it's congruent. Because people do like to categorize, and it's just like it. You just want to help them out. You want to help them know who you are before you even say a word. It's like I call it a little amuse-bouche. It's like a little taste of who you are. And then once you have that congruence, that the insides and outsides match, then the third C is choice. I used to call it control because there are a lot of details that you can control about how someone perceives you, that you can change the perception of people by what you wear, or by how you speak, or the way that you carry yourself, the way that you move. So you can control a lot of those details, but ultimately it's about choice. Do you want to? And what level of control is appropriate in any given situation? Because your image only matters where it matters. But where it matters, it really matters. So like if you're on the beach on holiday with your family, no one cares what your swimsuit looks like. Enjoy the sun, enjoy the sand, be with your family, have a great experience. But if you're delivering to an audience of 1,000 people a really important message, then maybe you want to pay a little bit of attention to your grooming and the clothing that you're putting on your back, and the way that you're speaking and how you're delivering your message. So where it matters, it really matters, but it only matters where it matters. So these are the 3 elements that I work with: character, congruence, and choice when I'm helping people develop their whole and complete presence.
Beautiful. Amazing. I have been learning amazing stuff ever since you started talking, Katherine. I love that.
I'm
The
glad.
three
I'm glad.
elements. The 3 elements. Okay, we have character, congruent, and choice or control. I got it?
Yeah, choice.
Beautiful. Okay, so to bring this to an end, to bring this to a close, Katherine, what would you like to leave the audience with? Like your final thought? And to those ones who like to reach out to you, learn more about what you do, or you probably said something and they would love you to, talk more about it. How can they reach you? How can that be possible?
Well, I would love for people to reach me. And you can find me on Instagram under Katherine Lazaruk. You can find me on LinkedIn under Katherine Lazaruk. And if you want more information, you can actually get on the pre-sale list for my book, which is coming out in October, called Executive Being: Humanizing Business One Leader at a Time. And you get that by going to my website, which is lzrkconsulting.com, which I'm sure you can put in the show notes. And you click on Get the Book. And when you put your email in and you click Get the Book and you get on the list, I will send you completely free of charge my 10 latest articles for creating a strong visual signature, which has all 10 different articles on color, on personality, on choosing the right kind of clothing, on the dress code. And all of it, of course, is in with sort of a Western business context. So you have to decide what applies to your world. And then there's a whole bonus on dining etiquette and hosting as well. And that's completely free of charge when you get on the pre-sale list for my book. And you can come and find me anytime online. I would love to hear from you.
Beautiful. Amazing. Okay, any final thought, Katherine?
I think if I could tell anybody one thing would be just begin. No matter where you are on your journey, if you feel stuck, if you feel lost, if you feel confused, look within to go without and just begin. One baby step. Just any amount. Any amount. It doesn't have to be a huge leap. It doesn't have to be a grand plan. Just begin. Any amount. Look within to go without.
Beautiful. Look within to go without. I love that. I love that. So that's going to be the end of the show, Kathleen. Thank you for coming and thank you for impacting us with this amazing insight. It means a whole lot. Thank you.
You're very welcome. It was a pleasure to be here.